Business Takeout presents The Healthy Entrepreneur with Maxine Choy.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Healthy Entrepreneur Show. My name is Maxine Choy. I'm your host. And it's been a while since I've done a show. So this is my first show after taking a little break. So I'm really excited to have my guest here. Her name is April Sheris. I got that right?
Yes.
And April, thank you so much for joining us on this show. I really
Thank
appreciate you
you.
coming.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so before we begin, I just want to talk a little bit about what Business Takeout is about. Business Takeout is a nonprofit social enterprise, and its mission is to increase Black wealth and empower Black entrepreneurs. So if you're watching this podcast and you would like to get some information on how to create Black wealth and even just to increase your own business, Business Takeout offers an array of services, website, social media. It's an array of services that they offer for businesses. So please follow them on all social platforms, and be sure to click on the subscribe button for the YouTube channel because they do have other podcasts available on this platform for you to watch. So I want to just introduce you to the audience because I think that your product that you have is going to be very, very helpful to a lot of people because I read up on it and I love teas. I love teas. So you're in the business of teas. So April, you are a serial entrepreneur, author, creative visionary. You're a creative visionary for young entrepreneurs and CEOs. And you're the CEO of Upland Avenue Productions.
Yes.
Yeah. And of course, Upland Avenue Productions is a subsidiary of Upland Teas. But in Upland Productions, you're a diverse portfolio of publishing media, and I'm just reading this here. A diverse portfolio of publishing media and technology properties.
That's
Okay.
correct. Yes, that is it.
Right. So, and also the owner of Upland Teas, and we're going to talk about Upland Teas. But before we begin, tell me a little bit about Upland Avenue Productions.
Sure. Yes. So Upland Avenue Productions started as a boutique publishing house. I had just recently published a book of my own, and a lot of people in my community back in my hometown of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, they began to reach out and ask how did I do it, or would I help walk them through the process, or help publish their books. And so that was very early on, about 12 years ago, that we began to do that. And as a small business owner, you can get overwhelmed fast. You begin to take on more than you can handle. And so publishing a few books a month grew into publishing 50 books per year. Some of them were published through our house, in-house, and some of them were published just using our services, and they published them under their own moniker. But that's how Upland Avenue Production started, just as a publishing house. And from there, we really realized that we wanted to have a platform that would help authors. And so it has grown to having an arts gallery as well as a film studio so that books, we can get them to film or to streaming platforms a lot quicker than traditionally before. But like I said earlier, I began to get overwhelmed. I began to get overworked. I love this field. So in the beginning, I didn't mind helping people, but my body was saying, hey, you know what? We need a break. We need a break fast. And so I didn't listen. And I was one of the unfortunate people who crashed and burned and had to learn the hard way what it's like to have to rebuild not just your immune system, but your adrenals as well from overworking so much.
And just you sharing that story and just like what I was talking to you about is the purpose of this podcast is to inspire entrepreneurs to obviously increase their business and increase wealth, but also to make the awareness that even though we're hustling and we're doing our thing, we're on the grind and we're trying to be successful, you can reach burnout, and you can get to the point where you're like, oh, you know what? I need to stop and take care of my health, because that's more important. Because if you reach burnout and you can't go any further, then you don't make any money. Your
Correct.
business, right? So,
That's definitely correct.
yeah.
A lot of us, we have families, whether that's two-parent households or single-parent households. You have other responsibilities as well outside of your business, and you really begin to burn the candle at both ends before you know
Hmm.
it. So you do a disservice to yourself, but if you have a partner as well as children, it becomes a disservice to them as well because they really depend on your contribution to the home as well.
Absolutely. So it's very important for us to take care of our health, because if we're not healthy, then of course it does affect you, the family, and the business.
Yeah,
So I thank you for sharing that, and I want to hear a little bit more about your burnout and how it led you to start Upland Teas. So tell me a
sure.
little bit about that story.
Definitely. So during the process, I'm coming from the South. First of all, you always go to your grandmother. That is
Mm,
the herbalist of the family. And so, I reached out to her, and she is really big on just kind of bringing balance and some type of symmetry back into the body. And so, tea was something that I had picked up from her. Growing up as a kid, we drank tea just for satisfaction. I
mhm.
had no idea that there were healing properties or medicinal properties to tea. And so once she suggested that, just to help with the stress levels and to regain balance with the stress hormone or the cortisol hormone, she suggested drinking tea. And it was through me trying to find a tea, which initially I was using a tea called lemon balm tea to help with the cortisol levels and help to restore my adrenals. I got really curious because I really loved not just how it was healing the body, but the peace or sense of peace that it was bringing to my mental health as well.
Mm,
So it was just doing personal research. I've tried a lot of teas, some that agreed with me and some that didn't. And that was also a lesson. It was a learning curve of realizing that just because it's tea and it's on the shelf, you really need to know what's going to agree with either medicines you're taking personally
absolutely.
or what your the needs of your body just to restore that balance. And so
Absolutely.
I found a really happy medium with the rooibos bush. So that was what what
And that's and
initially
that's what I'm going to get to. We're talking specifically about a tea, and it's called Rooibos tea. Rooibos,
yeah, yeah,
Rooibos tea. I always say Rooibos,
yeah.
and I just want to tell the audience a little bit about this tea. And some of you may already know the benefits of this tea, but this tea is amazing. Like it's high in antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anti-aging, good for your hair, your skin, even like cramps, period cramps, and also stimulates hair growth, of course, and fights diabetes, fights heart disease, and helps to manage stress levels. So, I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And I've read a few uh, articles where people have talked about the health benefits of Rooibos tea. So this is so you discovered Rooibos and then you just took off and just said, okay, this is going to be a business. Like, how did you even
Yeah,
think
I
that would
did.
be?
I realized one that it like you said, not a lot of people either they don't know about it or they're not speaking on it.
Or they just don't
It's
even look it up.
true. They don't look it
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
And in my research, I found that it is can have the same significant impact as the green tea and the black tea that's already overly populated on the market.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that I love the most about rooibos tea is that there's no caffeine.
Mm.
So in my particular instance, in trying to restore my adrenals and get my cortisol levels back into control, even though I was drinking a green tea or something that may be a black tea base, the caffeine in that tea was really just defeating the purpose. It was kind of depleting what I was trying to restore. And
Exactly.
so the rooibos plant really, it's caffeine free at its natural state. There are some blends that people have personalized that may contribute caffeine, but rooibos in its natural state is caffeine free. So you get all of those benefits without the uppers that caffeine gives you. It still
Mm-hmm.
has a little bit of energizing effect to it, but you don't have that crash and burn period like you do with caffeine after you're done with it. So
Okay, so you started this business, and because you start to take the tea yourself and realize the different health benefits. So what was your turning point at the time when you crashed and burned? What did you start to see happen when you started to have this tea?
Yeah. Honestly, in my personal opinion, I noticed after the first cup, it's a
Oh,
very calming tea.
okay.
It's a very soothing and calming tea. And so just from the first cup, even though lemon balm was miraculous when I first took it, it didn't have the soothing effect as the rooibos has. After the first few cups, over a period of time, the lemon balm tea began to lose the edge. I found that, okay, initially on day one when I was drinking it, I was able to get through half a day's worth of tasks before really starting
Mm,
to sleep or, whatever that day consisted of. With rooibos, I have consistently been able to maintain my energy levels because, again, it doesn't have any caffeine to spike the blood sugar levels. So, really, after the first cup for me, I slept better, which was part of the problem because if you're over analytical or your mind never shuts off like me as an entrepreneur, you
hmm.
find that you're resting, but you're not really sleeping during the night. So I slept
Yes,
better.
I can
Um,
relate to that.
yes, exactly. So that was a big one for me, sleeping better. And then just the overall sense of calm and
Mm,
soothing effect that I had after the first tea. And I
mm,
realized, I said, well, hey, you know what? Since everything is at a level of peace or balance right now, my body is able to recover quicker because everything is at peace, everything is balanced. The blood sugar levels are not fighting off or
right,
burning
yeah,
caffeine from other
exactly.
beverages. So, yeah, after the first cup for me, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much that I asked my daughter, I asked my mother, I asked everyone in my family. I call it asking, but I was just fixing cups of tea left and right, like, hey, you need to try this.
Mm.
So I kind of forced it on them, but they love it now. They're at the place where they actually ask for it when they need it, when they would like to have a cup. So it
Mm.
paid off.
So I guess people might be ditching the chamomile then, because a lot of people talk about the benefits of chamomile being so relaxing, and uh, eh, people drink it all the time. So that they might ditch it. What is the flavor of it? The
So
rooibos.
rooibos has a natural sweet flavor. It has
Mm.
kind of like a caramel flavor, a light caramel flavor. So I don't want anyone to think that you don't have to use sugar or honey because it's just, overly sweet. But in comparison to other teas, it has a very mild sweetness to it
Okay.
in its natural state. I don't use sugar personally.
Right.
In my healing, journey, I cut sugar out completely, and I
Mm-hmm.
only use, honey. And so I find that I can use very little honey because I do like the natural taste of the rooibos tea, in its
Yes.
natural essence. But it has a very mildly sweet flavor. And since you spoke about chamomile, we actually offer a chamomile mint version of our rooibos
Oh.
because it does help with digestion as well. So if you have, anyone having digestive problems or feeling a little nauseated, they can use the
Mm.
chamomile mint rooibos to do that as well.
Absolutely. I mean, tea has many healing benefits, and I've actually even cured my indigestion and my digestive issues with tea, and I did an experiment on my body, just
Oh,
basically consuming teas for like a whole week, and I did see a drastic difference in just how,
mm,
even just my state of mind. And
right.
yeah, it definitely does have a lot of properties. But I was experimenting with all kinds of teas. I have moringa, I have the
Yeah.
mint, I have fennel.
I have
um,
moringa too. I love moringa because,
yeah.
as women, I believe that sometimes our iron gets depleted. And so I know moringa is really good for that. So I do use moringa as well
Right.
from time to time as well.
I saw a comment that came up. I just want to see it again. I want to read it. Somebody said you had me at something. Um, so Banky says you had me. I can barely read that. Banky says you had me at the first cup. do you do you offer shipping in Canada? Oh yeah, sorry. Okay, I'm gonna have to read it from here because I can't see that. It's so tiny on my cell phone.
Oh,
But
sure.
yeah, that's a good question. Do you offer shipping in Canada?
We do. We do
Oh,
offer
awesome.
shipping in Canada. Yeah. Yeah. Right now we have certain countries in Europe that we ship to. So hopefully we're hoping by the end of the year we'll be able to ship globally. But yes, Canada
Oh,
is not a problem.
okay. So this business is with your mom and sister, or your who's it like your
Mom and daughter. So it's three generations in our
oh,
family. Yeah,
nice. Okay. Um, I've heard that you can bathe. If you bathe in it, it's good for eczema. Is
yeah,
that
yes,
so?
yeah,
If anybody's watching this and you have any kind of issues, or autoimmune issues that's causing you to have eczema or even psoriasis, would that be something that we can say, hey, try that because it's a natural way?
definitely, definitely.
Mm,
So I would recommend, obviously putting it in a natural or organic cotton muslin cloth, since
mm-hmm.
it's going to be loose tea leaves. But definitely, even if you don't use it for eczema, it's a very soothing bath as well. So I have used it. Make sure if you're going to use the natural rooibos, if you want to add a fragrance to it, because some people like lavender or things like that. That is an option as well, but just lightly, mildly use it.
Okay. So people are watching this and they're going to run out to the store probably and go out to buy rooibos tea.
Yes.
And what would you say to somebody who says they're going to go out and buy? What would you say about yours that would make them want to buy yours
Yeah.
as opposed to going to the store?
That's always the case, right? There's always plenty of options, and I think the main thing for me, personally, is where is it sourced? You know,
Mm,
what is actually in the tea? Because, like I mentioned, with using the cotton muslin cloth bags for your bath, if you're going to be steeping tea, you want to make sure you have the same, non-bleached items that you're going to be consuming. And sometimes the tea bags in stores are just not like that. Sometimes they
yeah.
have harsh chemicals to the body that's in the fibers of the bag. And so you just want to make sure that you're getting it sourced properly. You want to make sure it's in its most natural state, like ours are.
Mm,
With it being loose leaf tea, you get a more potent flavor to your tea than when it's bagged, and sometimes it's grinded almost too small to really get the actual flavor.
yeah.
You get some flavor, but a loose leaf tea is going to give you more flavor, more aroma, and it's the tea, and it's close to natural essence as when it was on the stem or in the bush. So that's a few of the main differences of our tea.
I see. And so also, okay, so when is the best time to drink it? You said you drink it every morning, all
Yeah,
day, or
yeah.
morning or night or afternoon?
Yeah, for me, I am in love with tea, so I drink tea throughout the day.
Me
If
too.
you're just getting started, I would say drink it in the evening because of the soothing effect. I don't want you to start drinking and you have to go to work that day and or you have to open your business that day and it's not as productive as before. So I would say start off in the evenings.
Hmm.
Um, and then pick up where you need it. If you feel like, hey, I have a lot to do in my evenings, I'm going to wait to bedtime, then you can kind of adjust it once you find how soothing and how relaxing it's going to be to you.
Hmm. I'm feeling the need to run to the store after this and get myself some.
Yeah,
Or even just like, go online and I mean,
yeah,
if anybody's watching this, I really would love for you to just like, get on there, support April, buy her teas, and just experience the benefits as well. Um, do you recommend anyone to add anything to the teas, like honey and anything like that? Is
yeah.
that
I definitely recommend, if you are not a person who can drink tea, any type of tea without honey or sugar, definitely do honey. If I can encourage as many people today to not use sugar, then I'm going to do
yeah?
that because of the harsh side effects it's going to have on the body thereafter. It tastes really great, but honey is a amazing alternative that in itself has healing properties, and so you can add honey. I know in the past, I've used lemon because someone else mentioned to me. So if you want to slice half a lemon and just juice a little bit in it, then those would be the main two things that I would recommend. Of
Mm,
course, if over time, if you feel comfortable adding, vanilla flavoring or syrups, that will be totally up to you. I like to keep it in its most natural state.
absolutely.
It's going to be honey for me.
That's what I was about to say. Always just try to keep things in its natural state
Yeah,
because
yeah,
then you get the real benefits of it. Okay, so
exactly.
so how long have you been doing this now?
So the Upland Tea House has been around for over a year.
Mm.
I've been drinking tea. Okay, so I'm from Louisiana. I've been in New Mexico for about 10 years. I've been drinking tea consistently for at least 6 of the years that I've been here. So yeah,
Oh.
I've been drinking tea for a very long time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So then so you started to drink tea a long time ago and decided, okay, I'm going to make this a business because this is
Yeah,
actually, yeah.
yeah, because
Why
over
not?
time, yeah, right now, like I said earlier, I realize a lot of people just have not heard of rooibos. So they don't know how healing and how beneficial it is to the body. And I also like that it's harvested out of South Africa. I also like that aspect as well.
Yes,
But the
it's
history,
actually very popular in South
yeah,
Africa. It's one of
yeah,
their main teas,
yeah,
apparently. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, so in terms of like anybody, have you had any stories from people who have had your teas and maybe they've shared with you the changes?
Yeah, so far it's been the consistent changes have been of how relaxing it is, how they can even with the kids they can unwind from their day,
Mm-hmm.
and not feel overwhelmed with homework and bath time or whatever their nights consisted of.
Right.
Personally, in my family, like I don't know if I mentioned earlier, but I have some people who are asthmatic in the family, and they have seen results just from not having to depend on inhalers as much as well. So
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
so it's
telling you.
huge.
And that's the thing too. Like our bodies have the power to heal itself. And
Yes,
all you
yes,
really need is just to incorporate a natural things to it, natural ways of healing itself. Stop eating all that synthetic food and all that stuff. I
yeah.
did see a comment that came up. Contracting specialist comment was, if it can come up again, I'm reading it from my other screen and it hasn't come up. There's a slight delay. Um, I'll read it when it comes up on my screen. Oh, there it is. Okay, it says that's a great selling point that the tea is not in bags because studies have shown a lot of companies actually use plastic. I must order some. Thank you. Oh, you see that? Thank you for that. Because very true. I've often looked at packaging of
Yeah,
my teas, and I'm kind of like questioning like the type of tea bags, like even how it's coming in the plastic,
yeah,
because you know what I mean. There's so many different things I look at, and I don't want to be too picky, but I tend to wonder, about the
yeah,
source of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that causes you to, get into the habit of being curious about the source and packaging of other foods, like what you're
Oh,
eating for dinner or, beverages that you're drinking. How good is the orange juice? You really start to question a lot of things because at this point, our health is in our hands. We're at a
I like
realization that
that.
we have to be more responsible for our health than depending on medical systems. So, I'm a huge advocate for being aware of what you're putting into your body. So
I like that. Our health is in our hands.
yes,
So,
yeah,
so true. I mean, there's certain products I'd buy and I'm analyzing the packaging, you know, thinking, okay, this is plastic and this is this and that. And sometimes I don't want to get too carried away, but I'm very much aware to the point where I put everything in a glass container. I don't put anything
yes,
in plastic. And
yes.
it just makes me feel better. When I do go to a restaurant and they serve me something in styrofoam, I'm just like, ugh,
Oh,
let me just it's not often, but let me just deal with it, right? But
yeah,
yeah, it definitely makes a difference. So yeah, the teas, the teas being um, ethically sourced and definitely grown in its indigenous way is probably the best way that you can get the full benefits of these teas.
right.
Um, so I'm gonna switch up a little bit, and I just wanted to talk about your branding style.
Okay, okay. Yes,
So I don't know if anybody has gone on your website, but I go on your website and I'm seeing three groovy chicks with big
yes,
afros and funky clothing and shoes, and there's just like there's this attitude there,
mm,
and there's power. So I'm gonna transcribe what I'm thinking, that you're kind of incorporating uh, a lifestyle of being sassy, but also healthy and also like boss, like a powerful. I don't know. That's what I got. So let me know if I'm right.
yeah. You're very, very close. Our branding, our branding includes all of those aspects. It's actually 70s inspired.
Yes.
Um, just listening to stories from my mother and my father, that was a very, very great period in American culture to me, especially in African American culture. We had so much pride in the way we looked, and there was integrity in how we presented and how we carried ourselves. And at that time, there were so many festivals that various cultures were attending that just promoted good vibes, you know. And
Mm.
so that's the basis of what our Upland Tea House branding is about. It's an ode to the '70s where you took pride in a lot of things about yourself. And there was a lot of promotion of love and of peace and just having good
Mm.
energy. So that's what the moniker of our packaging is, to promote, peace, love, and good vibes. So whether that's within yourself, as a form of self-care, or out in your community, just being very peaceful, having grace for people around you, and taking pride in who you are. So
Oh, I love that. Love that. Love that. And I'm sure that you share that with your audience when they are inquiring about the branding style. I love it. Do
yeah,
you, can you show us? I see that the products are there. Do you mind showing
sure,
us
sure.
something?
Yeah, so
Ooh.
it's interesting that you mentioned glass packaging, because ours is packaged in glass as well, in a dark amber color. And we went with a dark color to preserve the quality and freshness of the tea leaves. So once you get it, you can actually keep your tea leaves stored in here, and just place it in a cabinet or, wherever you would normally keep it. But um, this is what we consider our high vibes tea. It
Oh.
is our passion fruit rooibos. And so you have elements
Mm.
of currants and blueberries, and there's actually passion fruit in here as well to give it a nice flavor to the healing benefits. But once you drink it, it does kind of give off, like, the sense of summer when everything's carefree and everyone's happy. So that's why we considered it our high vibes.
High vibe. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
Oh
Has
wow. Let's
nothing
bring
to
it
do
closer
with,
to the camera. Let's see. I love.
oh, sure. Let me see. I'm going the wrong way.
I know. I know. Nice. I love that. You see that the even the logo has like that '70s
Mhm.
groove
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
about it. Nice. Okay.
yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Sure.
So then, do you and your daughter and your mom, what role do they play in this, and how are you guys supporting each other with this?
Oh, just as hands-on as I am. I love
Oh,
that about us. It's hard to believe that there's three generations who can get along as well as we do, because, you have teenagers, maybe not understanding parents, and so on and so forth, but we're all equally invested. From, as you know, branding and packaging, I run everything by them just to get their approval, because, you're talking about three eras. So I don't want to misrepresent the '70s, people who grew up and really know what the '70s was like. But I don't want to deter my younger generation who feel like, I wish they would have
yeah.
done something else different. So yeah, they are fully invested in the business. If we are packaging and shipping, they're driving down to the post office if we need to ship something out before our pickup time comes back around. So yeah, we are all equally invested, and I love that, because you know
Absolutely.
my daughter will be going on her journey with her life soon, and these will be valuable memories that she'll get to experience and have with her mother and her grandmother.
Exactly. So, if somebody was to order your teas and they're even say in the U.S. or Canada, what is the length of time for shipping usually?
So we have 2 days to get it out, to process it, which is, labeling it and getting it to the post office. Shipping has been crazy.
Yeah.
We are not experiencing, in some places, we're not experiencing what used to be like the 5 to 7 day. But typically, our customers are getting the tea no further out than 5 days. So we try to make sure we get it to you as quick as possible. So five
Yeah,
days and you
because
should have your product.
so yeah, 5 days because you're in New Mexico, right?
Yes,
And
yes, we're
that's pretty interesting that you're that far away. Very rarely do we meet people from New Mexico.
and before I moved here, I said the same thing. I'm like, I don't know a soul who has passed through my life from there, but I have fallen in love with it from being here. So, it just means that, the universe lines things up for us, for our own good.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when you're not serving up teas and packaging,
Yeah.
what do you do in that quiet moment when nobody's around and nobody's going to bother you? You don't have to answer to anyone. What does April do?
April has a lot of meditation moments.
Mm.
So especially with having younger kids in the house, you need to take those moments. Just before my youngest son will come home, I need to make sure I'm in the right mental space to prepare for him, not just for him to come home and show up at home and I'm, erratic and running around doing so many things. So I'm all about preparation. I meditate a lot when I
Mm.
drink tea, which is something else that we promote, is, don't just sit at a computer and gulp tea down. Make tea a mindfulness practice.
Yes.
Just look out the window and find one thing to focus on. And so those are things that I actually implement in my life. I slow down the mind, I slow down time, so to speak, and just really show gratitude for the moment that I'm in. So a lot of mindfulness, a lot of meditation, and then at the end of the day, before bed, I show appreciation for the things that I was able to accomplish, but also the things that I was not able to accomplish because sometimes we can beat ourselves up because it's like, oh, I didn't finish this to-do list. But we have
Mm.
still accomplished a lot that day, right? So
Absolutely.
I want to make sure I practice gratitude for the things that I'm
Mm.
able to do just for myself. So yeah, I'm big
Absolutely.
on self-care, you know.
Absolutely. And self care comes in many forms. It could just be a walk in the morning all by yourself. It could be
Exactly.
reading your book or your Bible. It could be praying. It could be anything
Yeah,
because we all need it.
we
Well,
do. Yeah.
so go
And
ahead.
one thing I wanted to touch on too, if I may, is that when we
Absolutely.
see the hashtag self-care or self-care Sunday hashtag, a lot of times I see people focusing on like spa day, bath times, and I really think that is important. In my mind, I think, well, those things really cater to the physical body more than like the
Mm.
mental body or the spirit
Absolutely.
itself. So a lot of times I put suggestions out there when you come to self-care Sundays. Hey, try this as well. Can we add this to bath time or can we add this right after bath time just to make sure that we are including mental health and spiritual health in that self-care as well. So
I like that, and of course that lends to the hashtag that you use, and I had to ask you about it. It's called living the soft life, and
yeah,
when you explain that to me, I'm like, okay, that hashtag is going to go viral because
yeah.
it's like you explained it as almost like self care. But explain that a little bit for me when you say living the soft life.
Yeah, yeah. So especially in entrepreneurship, or
Mm.
even if you're in corporate America, we have in the past we've grown up or escalated the ideology of hustling 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the fastest way to burn out, which we talked about earlier on. And so the soft life is saying, hey, you know what? It's okay if I slow down and take a vacation. It's
Yes.
okay if I implement things that traditionally entrepreneurs weren't allowed to do because we
Mm.
can't sleep because we're hustling 24/7. And so the soft life is just saying, you know what? It's balance to being an entrepreneur. Even though I'm taking time out for myself, with my family or with my friends, and you might see me stepping away from the business to enjoy a brunch, my
Yeah.
business is still, highly successful because I'm able to slow down, regain my balance, and then I can come back as a force afterwards.
Mm.
So that's pretty much what a soft life is.
Absolutely. And even turning off the phone, putting the phone away.
Oh, that phone, yes. Yeah.
I know, just taking that break. Absolutely. Absolutely. I hope everyone here who's watching will take on that soft life and self care, and
Yeah.
and more importantly, start drinking some Robius tea because definitely the benefits are amazing. Um, and ladies, you get shiny hair. I'm gonna take that because I need shiny hair.
Yeah.
So I'm just thank you so much for enlightening me with all the benefits of this, and I want to wish you your business much success as you continue to share your story on why you decide to start having these teas available to health to
Yeah.
entrepreneurs and even just everybody. Um, so I want to thank you, and if anybody wants to reach you, where would they find you at your website and all that?
Yes, definitely. So Upland Tea House is uh, pretty much everywhere on social media
Mm-hmm.
at Upland, period, Rooibos. Our website is www.uplandteahouse.com.
Mm-hmm.
Um, You can email us as well if you still have questions about the tea or just questions of how you can implement the tea after the show.
Absolutely.
So please feel free to go to the website, send us a chat message on Instagram or Facebook if that's your preferred method of communication. We're always willing to answer questions and be as informative as we possibly can.
Awesome. Thank you so much, April. I really appreciate this. I want to thank the audience for watching as well. And again, follow Business Takeout. Join the group. They have a Facebook group that you can join so that you can get this and more podcasts and other information you may need to up your business. So thank you so much again. And with that said, everyone stay well and good night.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
It was a pleasure having you. Pleasure. Thank you.
If you enjoy our programming and want to help support Black entrepreneurship, please donate today. www.businesstakeout.com/donate.